Hello, writers and book lovers. Miranda Darrow, freelance fiction editor here. Every week, I post new videos on this YouTube channel about writing, editing, and the writing life. And every month, I pick a new genre or subgenre for a deep dive. This month, we're diving into the most popular subgenre of the most popular genre, contemporary romance. Last month, I went super niche and focused on alt history titles, a tiny subgenre of sci-fi, and this genre is the complete opposite. The list of potential titles here is huge, but it's February and Valentine's Day is coming up, and authors want to learn about writing romance. So we're going to focus on contemporary romance. Let's give the authors what they want. So here are my recommendations for writing contemporary romance, subgenres, tropes, and writing tips. Contemporary romance is a dynamic and relatable genre that captures the essence of modern love and all its complexities. Rooted in the here and now, these stories resonate with readers through their realism, emotional depth, and characters navigating love in our fast-paced, interconnected world. Let's explore the core of contemporary romance, some popular subgenres, how to use tropes, and essential writing tips to craft stories that linger in readers' hearts. First, what defines contemporary romance? Contemporary romance is set in the present day, reflecting societal norms, trends, and challenges. These stories often focus on emotional intimacy and character-driven narratives, emphasizing the journey to love over flashy settings or high-octane action. While the core of the genre is the romantic relationship, it frequently intersects with other themes, such as personal growth, family dynamics, and career challenges. Popular subgenres of contemporary romance. First, there's workplace romance. Love blooms amidst deadlines, office politics, and coffee breaks. Expect office rivals forced to work together, or people from competing companies like You've Got Mail. An example is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. Small town romance featuring cozy settings is another trope. These have tight-knit communities, and this subgenre emphasizes warmth and connection, and lots of heroines who have moved away to the city only to return to their hometown years later. Holiday romances are often small-town romances, like the Hot Frosty movie on Netflix this year. One example is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. Rom-com, romantic comedies. This is a lighthearted, witty romp with humor and heartfelt moments. Expect embarrassing incidents, sometimes going viral, misunderstanding, and hijinks. And an example is Beach Read by Emily Henry. Celebrity romance, centering on the glitz and fame and the challenges of loving someone in the public eye. This can include love interests whose celebrity is based on their family being royalty, as long as it's in a contemporary setting. An example is Meet Me in the Margins by Melissa Ferguson and Alyssa Cole's Reluctant Royals series. Sports romance, the world of athletes and the complexities of love on and off the field, or the arena, or the pitch, or whatever sport's being played. Travis Kelce's romance with Taylor Swift has brought a renewed interest to this already hot category. When I was at the Moonlight and Magnolias conference, sponsored by the Atlanta romance writers last fall, the agents and editors there were all looking for sports romance. An example is The Deal by Elle Kennedy, and The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. And one of my favorites, reality show romances. One or both of the main characters are participating in some sort of reality show, like a cooking competition or home design, or even a dating show. But generally, if it's a dating show, the love interests went on there not for the right reasons of trying to find love. To have solid conflict, love needs to be the last thing on their agenda. An example of a reality TV show romance is Recipe for Persuasion by Sonali Dev, which is a cooking show that's a delicious remake of Jane Austen's Persuasion. What are some of the beloved tropes in contemporary romance? Tropes are the comforting familiarity that readers crave. In contemporary romance, they are the cornerstone of storytelling. Popular tropes include enemies to lovers. Sparks fly when rivals realize there's a fine line between love and hate. Tip: layer the transition from animosity to attraction for a believable arc. Even when these future lovers can't stand each other, they're still strangely attracted to each other. They get under each other's skin in the best and worst way. One of my favorite tropes is fake dating, pretending to be in a relationship for external reasons until their feelings become real. A tip is to create high stakes that make the fake relationship necessary and emotionally charged. This can be due to family expectations, coming as a plus one to a family wedding to avoid that meddling aunt, or as a condition for an inheritance in a will, or even higher stakes like immigration status. Another common trope is friends to lovers. Love blossoms from the foundation of friendship. This can be the boy or girl next door. They've known each other since they were playing in the paddling pools as toddlers, like Bridget Jones's Diary, or it can be the brother or sister's best friend. Tip: highlight the moment where the platonic bonds shifts into romantic ones, seeing this person in a new light for the first time. For Bridget Jones, I'm always picturing Darcy in his Christmas sweater when they first saw each other after years apart. Another trope is forced proximity. Two characters are stuck together in a small setting. Living in Minnesota, getting snowed in is a real possibility, but there's lots of reasons that people can be forced together in a tight space, including bickering coworkers who need to work together on the big project. Here's a tip: use this confined space to deepen emotional and romantic tension, and tie this into their respective goals, which are ideally in conflict with each other. They both want the same promotion, or she wants the snow to end so she could get home, but he's perfectly happy to be stuck at this remote cabin with only one bed. Another trope: opposites attract. Polar personalities collide and complement each other. This is the basis for the grumpy sunshine trope, the shy and chatty, and lots of other odd couple matchups. Tip: showcase how their differences challenge and also complete one another. Writing tips for contemporary romance. The main character's goal needs to be something external, not finding love. This is a common misbelief by newer romance authors, that they think that the story is all about finding love, so the character's goal should be that they want to seek love, and then when they find it, then they're all good. But that story would be boring. Readers want characters who have a lot more going on. They have external goals, things that they want, reasons that they want them, and they are pursuing those goals. And love is a major inconvenience. It's not on the radar, but they just can't fight these feelings. That's what romance readers want. Love despite their main characters, because it's not what they want, it's what they need. Another tip is to develop relatable characters who are in conflict with each other, ideally, or with the world. Contemporary romance thrives on characters who give them flaws, ambitions, vulnerabilities that readers can identify with. Don't have any Mary Sues here. Compelling romance thrives on obstacles, whether it's external forces or internal doubts, or ideally some of both. Let the characters earn their happy ever after. Do not let them off too easy. Put them through their paces. You must be cruel to be kind. All right, speaking of their paces, the third tip is to make sure you're hitting the reader's favorite romance beats. Later this month, I'm posting a video with my review of the writing craft book, Romancing the Beat by Gwen Hayes. This is a must-read for romance authors, even if you're a diehard pantser who doesn't want to work with a beat sheet, just because this book gives the names and definitions of the romance beats that readers crave, including the meet cute, the dark night of the soul, and the grand gesture. Be sure to check back in a couple weeks for that video for all the details. Another tip: emphasize emotional depth. While chemistry is essential, emotional intimacy takes center stage. Explore what drives the character, what scares them, and how they are going to grow through love. I'm a strong proponent that at least one, if not both, of the lovers need to have an identifiable misbelief or the lie that they believe, with a strong character growth arc where they are challenged. They defend this misbelief and retreat into it, and then eventually learn and grow so they can discard this belief and live in the truth. And once they are a new person, they are finally ready to be willing and able to give and receive love in a healthy relationship. Another tip: dialogue is key. Witty banter, heartfelt confessions, authentic conversations make the characters come alive. Pay attention to voice and rhythm and make sure your characters don't all sound the same. Readers should be able to distinguish your characters' lines from each other without even dialogue tags, but you should still use dialogue tags or action beats if there's any ambiguity. Another tip: avoid cliche resolutions. Tropes are wonderful, but avoid overly predictable conclusions. Keep the readers guessing while still delivering the satisfying payoff they praise. Let's not have any magic box solutions, and avoid having full-grown adults break up over a miscommunication that a simple phone call or text could have resolved. That might work for YA or historical where there's no way to communicate, but in adult contemporary romance, the source of the breakup, the dark night of the soul, should be tied into your main character's misbelief, and they are succumbing to their worst fears, and not just a simple misunderstanding. All right, another tip: be sure to pace the relationship. Build the physical attraction aspect of the romance gradually. Let the reader savor each moment, from the first glance to the first touching of the arm to the first kiss and beyond. Later this month, I'm releasing a video where I walk through the 12 stages of physical intimacy, this whole concept and how to use them to build organic attraction that crescendos as characters spend time together. This is how you avoid the insta-love criticism by building the basis of that physical attraction long before the characters start kissing or even holding hands. Yes, even if they started out as enemies who can't stand each other. Elizabeth Bennet. Another tip: incorporate modern realities. Infuse your contemporary romance stories with elements like texting, dating apps, and social media to reflect today's romantic landscape. Other subgenres of romance, like historical and fantasy and paranormal, are a better choice if you want your characters to not be able to communicate easily and have access to the creature comforts of the modern world. And another tip: make sure your sex scenes, if you choose to have them, are serving a story purpose. I advise my romance authors that you can really only have one sex scene where both parties are perfectly happy and there's nothing going wrong, and that's at the end. That's after the external plot's climax, after the character growth arc. This is a sexy ever after ending, which is sometimes in the epilogue or sometimes right before it. But every other scene with physical intimacy still needs to serve a story purpose, whether it's advancing the plot, revealing character, or introducing new conflict. It's great to interrupt that scene with a new clue in the mystery, or let that POV character just be haunted by knowing that they're keeping a secret that if their lover knew, they would leave them forever. Just like every other scene in the book, intimacy scenes need to serve a story purpose. And if not, it's gratuitous, and it's also boring. Another tip: read and research tropes. Dive into contemporary romance novels to understand trends and reader expectations. Figure out what tropes you have and incorporate a few more that fit to give your story wider appeal and audience. And then regardless of whether you're pursuing traditional publishing or indie, study up on how to write a killer blurb and use the right keywords and genre tags, know your tropes, and use this information to help find your readers. Here are some final thoughts on writing contemporary romance. It's a delicate balance of heart and humor, reality and escapism. Whether you're penning an enemies to lovers office romance or a tender story about love, rediscovered, focus on the authentic emotions that make readers fall in love with your characters. As you write, remember that every love story is unique, but the journey to love is universal. Romance is about hope, connection, and the belief that love can overcome obstacles. As a writer, your task is to create a world where characters can experience that hope and joy one page at a time. Join us all month as we talk about romance, writing, and books, including next week's video, which is a very focused list of contemporary romance novels that include a reality TV show. Yes, we're going super niche because a list of contemporary romance novels would be hundreds of titles long and still wouldn't scratch the surface. So I wanted to do just a tiny little dive. And if you like this video, please share on social media, like, and subscribe to my channel for more weekly videos on writing, editing, and the writing life. Tune in next week for my list of contemporary romance book recommendations that feature reality TV shows. And this is freelance fiction editor Miranda Darrow wishing you happy writing.